When it comes to making customers happy, did you know that your customers have the ability to become brand ambassadors for your company? That's right. So we've talked about being rude to customers and how it could put you out of business. Now, let's say your customers are so happy and they are beyond satisfied with the service that you've given them or the product that they purchased for you, that they're just telling the world all over social media. They're telling everybody that they know, everybody they run into, about how wonderful your company is. That person has now become a brand ambassador for your company. The long-term effects is that you'll see more business coming your way. Should those customers be satisfied with your products and services and your customer service, they're going to tell their friends. And then their friends are going to tell their friends, and so on. And then you just get this never-ending chain of new referrals coming in. It's important to create a community for your loyal customer base, because it can take a lot of things off your plate as a business owner. And that's especially true during a busy holiday season where you don't really have any free time to take care of things on the side. So why not put advertising in the hands of your customers?
Christian, that is true. I actually, with respect to the bank issue that was mentioned before, I actually recruited both Justin and now another friend of mine for a bank that I personally use that's in my area. And Justin, you've had good experience, nothing but good experience with that particular bank.
Exactly. And in fact, I'm closing several other accounts to go all in on the bank you referred me to.
And I've had nothing but good experience with that particular bank. I did have fraudulent activity detected on my particular bank account, so I called them. They got it rectified right away. I even requested a new debit card just to be on the safe side, even though the bank account itself had fraudulent activity flags on it, but the debit card itself was not. I felt that I want to put myself at ease and just get a new debit card altogether. Well, I just had to travel out of state a couple days ago, and I had to use my debit card, try to go to an ATM, and it flagged the purchase. It flagged the withdrawal. So I called them and I said, hey, I'm trying to withdraw X amount of money from my account. And they said, oh, okay, but yeah, we just wanted to make sure it was you. So yeah, that right there, because it was a new debit card, it was first transaction, it was out of state, it was different, and I've had nothing but good experience. So that's why the referral, as you say, Christian, is just crucial. Put it in the hands of your customers.
That's right.
As their friends and family to do business with your company. I know that there's a local cell phone repair shop that I frequent when my phone gets damaged, which happens more often than I wish it would, but especially with the batteries in my phone going bad because of how much I use my phone, I always take it to this particular shop. It's always got it fixed within 2 hours and at a fair price. And they usually give me a time frame if they have a battery out of stock. They'll actually ask me to make an appointment so that they can make sure that my phone is a priority when I show up.
And you said they do computers as well?
Yes, laptops and desktops.
Nice.
And they've started to branch out into tablets as well. Not just Wi-Fi only, but also mobile carrier tablets. And they also, you can sell your old phones to them. They'll unlock them and resell them to other people to keep them out of the landfill.
Nice. Very nice.
It sounds like they're on top of their game and they're expanding daily. And that's what all businesses should do. They should scale. They need to expand their product lines whenever they can. And of course, expand their reach to their customers by opening up a few other locations whenever possible in other areas. I want to go back to talking about becoming a brand ambassador and also the power of social media. Now, these two things go hand in hand because, for one thing, customers can use social media to talk about your products and services, and then they can also utilize social media to answer questions that other customers might have about your product. So let's say customer A has a question about a product and they go on to social media to ask the question. Maybe they post it on the timeline on Facebook, for example, or as a tweet on Twitter. Before the company actually responds, maybe one of said brand ambassadors saw the question and responded ahead of time. So you can see how having a brand ambassador just takes a huge workload off of your customer service team who did not need to take that time to answer that question. However, there may be some times where maybe the brand ambassador did not answer the question properly or their answer was incorrect. That may be one of the few cases where the customer service team needs to come in and re-answer the question for the customer to give them the correct answer. But if your brand ambassadors are doing a good job, then overall, it takes a lot of workload off of your marketing and your customer service team, so you could focus on serving other customers or handling other matters related to operating the business. But when it comes to social media in general, let me ask you this. What do you think the biggest mistake businesses do with social media is? There are two answers to this question. I'm looking to see if y'all can answer at least one of the answers or even both of them. But what is one of the biggest mistakes?
It's one of them where they use their profile for private as well as business, because you spoke about that before.
That is one of them, yes. That is a major mistake. That wasn't one of the answers I was looking for here, but that is very, very true, and nobody should ever do that.
Yeah.
They're not utilizing it to answer customers' questions, because sometimes when you interact with your customers on social media, sometimes you can actually, because it would be public, especially on Facebook, you can explain to them in a public forum like that why certain things are the way they are at your company, and potentially offer a solution by having them direct message customer service on a platform such as Facebook Messenger, or give them your hotline to call you so that the problem can be resolved.
Or even the email that here's our email. If we don't have a customer service number, here's the email that we can direct the problem to, because we as social media cannot actually answer that, but here's our support team email.
That's right too. You'll want to make sure that you deliver all important pieces of contact information. What I was looking for in terms of the answer to this question is that one of the biggest mistakes that businesses make while on social media is that they're too promotional. They spend all their time promoting their products instead of providing educational content or entertaining content to their users. And second, they overlook their social media activities. People might be posting on them all the time, and businesses, especially small businesses, are not monitoring these accounts. You might be missing out on a possible sale right there. Maybe somebody's inquiring about a service or product that you have and they need a special order, and because you did not check your social media messaging, you missed out on a possible sale, on some possible revenue. It's important to make sure that you do not overlook social media. Yeah, it can be overwhelming, and that's especially true if you have a larger company, but make sure that you're always watching it. Make sure that you monitor replies on your posts, monitor your direct messaging, and ensure that you always have an answer to their question, even if the answer is no.
That's actually
Some
one of the
companies.
your FAQs, your social media for your business.
And also your more contact information as well would be in your FAQs. So yes, there's a contact us place, but link, but sometimes people don't actually recognize the contact us link, and sometimes it's not as visible as consumers would like it to be. But if consumers check a business's FAQs, my recommendation is put the contact info also in your FAQs. If like you can't find your answer here, contact us. There's a link that you can contact to our contact information.
Yes, that's right, actually. And I've seen many companies do that. They will put their contact information in the FAQ page, or even a link to the contact page, like you said. That way, when they click on that link, it'll take them to a page that has a form they can fill out, and also a mailing address, phone number, email address, and if they need to visit the office or store in person, a map could also be included in there. And then you'll also want to make sure to mention that if you only see people by appointment only, that's loud and clear on those pages. And social media in general can be used to answer all questions your customers have. And you'll also want to switch things around too. Why don't you, the business owner, use social media to create engagement and ask questions to your customers? Create polls, ask general questions, ask them to caption a photo to be funny. Throw your audience the microphone and listen to what they have to say.
Yes, I agree. And one thing that can also be a really good thing to do is to be a member of local groups for your area. So if there's a group that's for people in a specific county in which you do business,
Join the group.
yeah, join the Facebook group for the businesses and communities in that area, so that when people are looking for business services you provide, you can jump in and say, call me, I'll give you a quote on the service you need.
And if you're a small business, I would recommend doing the same. If you are, like, for example, mom and pop shop type of business where you only have one location, small businesses, and you're in a specific area, like join all, nearby community groups. Like there's, say you're in a small town, but you have like maybe one, two, maybe five nearby communities that your customers are from. So if you're business owners, join those groups, join those community groups. Like say somebody in a group is like, hey, I'm looking for X, Y, and Z product, and you're a small business and you have that particular product, you can say, hey, I own such and such street, such and such mark down the street on a main street in such and suchville. Come by. We're open. Say we're open. Here's our hours. Here's where we are. We got your product.
That encourages word of mouth selling, which is usually the number one way most small businesses get business from, or they get referrals from other customers.
I know that there are some businesses in my area that I've actually gone on social media, and because I know that these products can be rather expensive, because these particular providers offer financing options and contracts where you can pay that price every month and can receive ongoing support from the company rather than just a one and done. I promote those companies that I feel I can trust and would actually use on my own.
And you've actually mentioned a couple of the companies to me as well, and to see in my area because we're in different areas, and see if I have that. And I actually do have that particular one of the particular companies that you mentioned up in my neck of the woods. And though it may be in semi decent area of another town, I could always go online and place an order there
And have it delivered.
Exactly. Because I don't feel comfortable personally going into that particular area of town. But as Justin said, this one company in particular can actually deliver it, and you'd still pay the financing price, no hidden fees.
Correct.
Yeah, that's like me. I hate going into certain areas of the town I live in, and I like to get deliveries for certain places, or say like there's something that place you don't want to has, you can always look it up online.
Right? It's important to look for alternatives. And to all the business owners out there who run retail storefronts and also sell online, remember to offer alternatives too. If your customer is looking for a certain product, make sure that you can offer them a similar product that will take care of all their needs should the one that they are seeking be out of stock. And that's especially important if they're not interested in back ordering and they need that product right now. So make sure that you have alternatives on hand whenever possible. There just may be a time where a customer might just decide that they're going to go somewhere else because your product was not in stock. They don't want an alternative and they don't have time to wait for one to be back ordered. So sadly that will happen, but just remember that whenever you can have an alternative product that can suffice, have it available. Moving on into our next topic, I want to talk about the importance of live chats and chatbots. When you have a chatbot in your website, you can have it connected through Facebook, believe it or not. If your company has a Facebook page, you can actually link it to your Facebook page for your company, and then anytime somebody messages you, you will be able to answer it within the Facebook Business Manager app. And in fact, Facebook is encouraging people to integrate Facebook Business Manager and Instagram together into one now. So if you get messaged on either Instagram or Facebook Business Manager, it'll all come in through one app. They're trying to integrate the two services together now. Facebook and Instagram both being owned by Meta. The importance of having a live chat is that it helps speed the process up for customer interactions easier. You can program a chat bot to have certain questions pre-answered, an AI-based bot where maybe they're asking, what time do y'all open? And then the bot will automatically answer that question. And then if some of the pre-programmed options do not answer the customer's question, then an option to be connected to a live agent would be presented. That's how a chat bot should be done. It's important to make sure that you only use the AI portion of your chatbot to answer those questions in your FAQ section, general questions that do not require human interaction, but have that bot ready and available to take customer messages, to take customers in who need help with a specific problem. Make sure that bot is able to connect to a human person. Real human customer service is incredibly important to any business. I mean, you can have all the AI you want, but real human customer service is what's going to take the cake, especially when AI just can't take care of that problem. AI can't answer every question. I've said this numerous times throughout the show. Have somebody available to answer your question. Just make sure that you have good integration with social media and that you have an agent on standby ready to answer the question. Make sure you have a customer service agent standing by ready to take calls and messages. And if you are utilizing SMS, text messaging, make sure customers are also able to connect there as well, too. There are SMS options available that you can utilize. There are services out there where you can set up an SMS chatbot. It's important to remember that whenever you're dealing with social media, email, text messaging, or phone calling, no matter which platform or system or media that you're using to talk to your customers, you want to make sure that you personalize your interaction with each customer. Because as I said a few minutes ago, human interaction is very important. That can make or break you, and customers like to be dealt with on a personal level. We don't all want to be just a bunch of numbers, right? Some companies do just treat every customer as a number, and there's no personalization there. When you're interacting with customers, you want to make sure that your tone and language are perfectly match what you know about the customer. You are telling the customer that you understand exactly how they feel and what problem they are facing. And you also have to assume that the customers you have zero knowledge of the issue at hand as well, too. You need to understand how they feel and what the problem is, but you don't have to expect the customer to know about how the issue happened. That's your job to tackle that issue. You'll want to ask your customers direct, specific questions about their product and their preferences. Make sure that you boost their confidence. Maybe you have a customer who's coming to you not with a problem, but they need help making a buying decision. They don't know what to buy. They don't know what products to buy. Maybe they need a recommendation on your behalf. Greedy companies will do the wrong thing. They will just recommend, without taking any consideration of their customers' needs, a product that is very expensive just so they can make some money. This is what kiosks in the malls do all the time, especially ones that sell cosmetics. You don't want to be those guys. We did a whole podcast episode talking about how salespeople need to stop being rude to their customers. That is being rude to your customer, where you're putting profit ahead of customer concerns. A real customer service agent, one that truly cares about the customer, listens to their needs, and offers recommendations based on what their needs are, not on how much money the company could possibly make.
I've actually been roped into one of those mall kiosk sales, and I was actually not pleased with the product itself. And that I had left the before I had a chance to even test out the product. They just roped me into $25-$30 worth of sales and maybe 40 at add-ons, and it was like I got home and I tried. I'm like, I am not satisfied with this product. Why? What? They obviously do not know me. Like when you go to the mall and you see these kiosks, they just try to get every person that walks by, they try to just get to you, and it's really annoying.
It's rude.
It's very rude. It's extremely rude.
Sometimes it's the cost of the customer more sometimes as well. If they cock up, you've got to go and spend more money to get it somewhere else when you could have spent less money and less time by getting it done by the kiosk.
Yeah,
that's right.
I personally find it rude when somebody comes up to me randomly and says, "Here, try out my product." I'm like, I don't even know what your product is, number one. Number two, I have other things I need to do. That's why I'm here. I'm not here to see your kiosk. I'm just walking by your kiosk.
Exactly.
So as you respect your kiosk, I have nothing against your kiosk until you start harassing me. And that's the problem with some of these kiosk vendors, is they go to the point of harassment.
Right. And Dana, I recommend that you go back and listen to our podcast episode called Salespeople Stop Being Rude to Your Customers. We did a whole show talking about that exact problem, and it is rude.
It's obnoxious. It's not just rude, it's obnoxious, and it's annoying, and it needs to stop.
It's obnoxious and narcissistic. That's why I'm talking about this point now, because I want business owners to understand that if they really want to treat their customers like kings and queens, they need to listen to their needs and quit trying to push products onto them that are very expensive just so they can make a profit, because that is how you destroy your image.
And I was not pleased with my kiosk purchase anyways. And it just was like, this is not what I use.
I'm going to be honest with you about those kiosks. Most of the products that they sell are total ripoffs. They're just in it for the money. They don't care about any of your needs. They don't.
Yeah, it's all about.
But when it comes to delivering good customer service, you'll also want to send out some follow-up messages to your customers who buy from you online. Send out a follow-up email thanking them for their purchase, and if any action is required on the customer's part to continue moving the order along, make sure that that is mentioned in the email as well too. Sometimes that does happen. Sometimes it's possible to automate these processes. For example, if you're selling software products that require license keys, you'll have the system set up to email out the license key to the customer after they've made their purchase. But there might be some times where you need input from the customer. Maybe the customer made their purchase, but they forgot to pick a certain variant of the product they purchased. For example, maybe the system somehow let a customer buy a shirt, but they didn't specify what color or size shirt they wanted. Maybe a flaw in the system allowed them to make this purchase without choosing a size or a color. So that's the importance of website testing. You got to make sure all those little bugs are taken care of, but make sure that you email the customer and follow up with them to ask them for these specific variables. That way you can fulfill their order and get it to them on time. Check your email regularly. And then on top of that, make sure you have a very simple return and exchange process. You'll want to make it as simple for the customer as possible. Now, when it comes to giving refunds, that's especially important. You'll want to make sure that customers can easily get a refund if they need to. Make sure that if you get a customer who wants to make a return or simply get refunded, make sure that the process is streamlined. Make sure you have it in the terms and conditions section on your website, and we talked about this earlier. Make sure it's in clear English, make sure the steps are outlined, and the customer knows exactly what they need to do to return the product. Many eBay sellers, what they will do is they will have their return policies outlined within the product page or on the listings of the products they're selling. A lot of them offer 30-day returns, meaning you have to return the product within 30 days. Most of the time, all you have to do is contact the seller, and they will give you further instructions on how to ship the product. Maybe they'll tell you you need to go to USPS and buy a box for overnight shipping, and then they'll promise to reimburse you for the shipping. But you see what I mean. Return and exchange policies need to be written in plain English. They need to be upfront, and the customer needs to know exactly what they need to do without having to contact your customer service department for further assistance. Unless it's to initiate the return, but hopefully your system is set up to the point to where they don't even need to call in to make the return. All they have to do is request a return through the website.
Yeah, that's Amazon, isn't it? Amazon is very good at that.
Right. And what does their process usually entail?
Well, with I had a little issue. I bought a hairdryer from Amazon. Had it about 6 months, started smoking, and then it started having flames out of the front of it. So I knew there was something wrong with the hairdryer. So obviously I've taken the plug out, and I thought, oh God, I've got to try and contact Amazon. Well, they don't have a phone number. They have the live chat bot.
Right.
So I put the details in saying the hairdryer, I bought the hairdryer about 6 months ago from you. It's just smoked and it's caught fire. Obviously this is under warranty, but it is really dangerous. What do you want me to do? The bot said, I don't understand you. I don't understand you. Don't understand what you're saying. Anyway, so it said, do you want to speak to a service agent? Yes, I do. So anyway, I had the service agent, and then I explained to them everything, what had happened. And they said, well, I can see who you are, when you bought it. That's not an issue at all, but we need you to send it back to us because we're going to have to recall all the other hairdryers. So that was good that they actually said that they was going to refund me. Plus they said I can choose a hairdryer of my choice and I wouldn't have to pay for it.
Yeah, very top-notch customer service. They were looking out for you.
I can't fault them at all. I can't fault Amazon. Brilliant.
Yeah, and when it comes to recalls, you want to make sure every customer that has bought it from you that you can track down is aware of the recall, and that you issue them a full refund, because more than likely the company that the item is made by has to reimburse you because you had to reimburse the customer because of the defective item being recalled. This is especially true when it comes to over-the-counter drugs and, believe it or not, consumer electronics. It's also the case with food items, although usually they ask you to just throw it away when it comes to the food items, either discard it or return it for a refund.
Right. Yeah, that's important to be upfront about too. And more importantly, when you have recalled products, make sure that you take them off your website as soon as possible and make sure to refund any of your customers who did purchase these products. Make sure you refund them right away. And going back to what I said earlier, offer an alternative replacement that is safe to use.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
And you should never intentionally sell unsafe products.
Right. Yeah, that just goes back to being greedy, and that can also open doors to legal trouble for your company if you do that, because once the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, gets word that you're selling unsafe products, then they're going to go after you. They're going to start taking legal action against you. So just some words to the wise.
Another great thing to do is to periodically require refresher courses for your customer service agents to make sure that they're kept up to date on the latest policies of the company so that they have a working familiarity, not just because of how long they've been there, but to make sure that they're aware of changes as things go along within the information structure for what you sell.
Right. Right, and that's especially true, not just for customer service, but for anybody who is handling things on the front line, all the front-end employees who interact with the customers. That way they'll be up to date on any questions the customers might have. They can talk about the products in their most updated manner, because products do change over time too. And they'll know which products to recommend to customers should they have questions.
Exactly, because you always want a happy customer, because a happy customer is a repeat customer. An unhappy customer will fire your company and go somewhere else.
Right.
Where they are getting treated with dignity and respect.
And they'll tell their friends not to go with you anymore.
Right, that's right. You don't want to have angry customers. You want to create an army of brand ambassadors who will tell the world about you. One thing that all business owners should do is they should learn from all their customer feedback and, of course, rectify any past mistakes they made. So, obviously, if you've been in business for a long time, you're going to have to revamp your holiday customer service protocol based on any feedback you've got last year. And, of course, you'll also want to tweak your marketing campaigns to be focused on the products that are the hot sellers this year. What was a hot seller last year may not be a hot seller this year. So, that depends on what's in season. And you can learn this simply by keeping up with the latest trends, researching your competition, and then, of course, talking to your vendors, asking them which products that you're carrying from them are going to be the biggest sellers for the season. You'll want to especially pay attention to customer interaction, pay attention to customer feedback. Learn from mistakes. What did customers not like about your company this year? Take that and then start improving upon that, so that way you won't have any other customers complaining about the same issues over and over again. Make sure that you give customers exactly what they want, and recognize in general what problems, if any, is your company facing. Are some of the products that you're carrying too expensive? Are your competitors selling them for a lot less? Are your employees just not up to date on the latest trends? Are they being rude to the customers? Again, we don't want rude employees anywhere in the company. What did your company do that caused your customers to leave them something less than a 4 or 5 star rating? In fact, if they left anything less than a 5 star, even a 4 star should raise concerns over why they weren't 100% happy with their experience shopping with you.
Because an customer will go out and tell 100 of their friends what your company did wrong and why they should not shop at your company. If enough do that, your company goes out of business.
Right. You don't want bad customer service and bad products to be the reason why your company went out of business, because those are things that you can take care of. Those are things you can change. You can prevent your company from going under if you just treat your customers well and provide the product that they want at prices that are reasonable. Again, pricing depends on your overall target market, because people who live in high-end areas, for example, don't shop at 99-cent stores. And people who live in low-income areas don't shop at Neiman Marcus.
Yeah, because there's what I call the income bracket differential. People that have a general income bracket are not going to shop at a place like Bloomingdale's or Nordstrom.
Right. Yeah, those are high-end stores.
Yeah, the people that shop at Dollar General would probably also shop at Family Dollar and other small mom and pop stores like that, because most of them are independent franchises of the corporate company.
Family Dollar and Dollar General are actually 100% corporate owned, but if you're talking about like your cell phone stores and your fast food restaurants, those are usually franchised by independent owners.
That's true. And quite often you'll find the best customer service at the local office of whatever company it is you're dealing with,
Mm-hmm.
especially if it's a top location. The manager is often the owner.
Right. It kind of makes me wish larger chains like Walmart and Target offered franchise opportunities. That way we could see family spirit and personal treatment instilled among these stores. Because at the corporate level, we don't see that. We see a lot of rude employees there who don't really care about the customer. To them, you're nobody. They just want their paycheck. And it's sad. That's especially true for the fast food industry. But I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here. Let's return back to serving customers. The last point I want to give is to all your customers, it doesn't matter if they are new customers or returning customers, make sure you do this. Make sure you send out a welcome email. This welcome email will outline what they can expect for being a customer. You can include links to customer service, FAQ, social media, basically information they're going to need right then and there. And 50% of people open welcome emails, believe it or not. That's the open rate for welcome emails. The open rate for welcome emails is 50%, so you'll want to make sure you have one that is personalized to the customer. It has quick links to information that I just mentioned, social media, FAQ, contact page, return policies, etc. Believe it or not, these welcome emails are actually 86% more effective than standard newsletters, which usually end up getting thrown away and unsubscribed from. Welcome emails can break the ice. It'll help them recognize your brand, and it'll help you get off on the right foot with your customers. You'll want to have a welcome email and follow-up email. That way you can check to make sure that your customers are happy with their purchase and the service they received. Keep both your new customers and your returning customers in mind. You could even turn this into a newsletter that could go out strictly towards your customers. They can get exclusive deals that non-subscribers can't partake of.
Do with your welcome emails, tell them the absolute maximum number of how many messages you will send out per month.
Right.
So they know for sure how many messages you will send them.
I apologize, Christian. I had to step away. Somebody was ringing my doorbell, and it was actually a kind of subsidiary company of my power bill. And just listening to what you were just saying about welcome email and whatnot, and how many messages. This was particular subsidiary just, kind of was informing me about clean energy and with respect to linking it to my power. I know this is slightly off topic here, but with respect to the welcome email, they said that, in a couple days, about a few days, you'll get a welcome, 2 letters, one from the subsidiary, one from the main company itself. So at least they gave me what to look out for.
Mm-hmm.
And exactly approximately when, and they said within the end, but within a week, you'll get 2 letters, one from us, one from the main company.
Right. That's an example of what I was just talking about ensuring that you follow up with customers and that you send out emails to inform them of product or service changes if customers need to take any action. That's a great example.
Yes, and the subsidiary was actually for my energy bill, with respect to the energy, the power company that is for my apartment. And they were talking about it, and a lot of people didn't realize how polluted it is up here, and they were trying to inform me about how they can incorporate through their subsidiary company through my power company. They're both interconnected, and they can incorporate. They can let my power company know, hey, she wants clean energy, and I was actually pleased with how they presented themselves and how professional they were. I was very pleased with how their professionalism was. So I stood there and if they were rude to me, I would have said, I'm sorry, I don't have the time.
Right.
But they were very professional with me. They were very polite. I told them I'm in the middle of recording a podcast right now, and they said, oh, I'm so sorry about that. This will just take a moment. Do you have a moment? And I said, yes, I do. And they were very, very professional in their approach. And yes, this may not be with respect to small businesses, but it's still, as a generalized thing, if you're going to go promoting your business, definitely be professional in how your sales representatives come to you and present themselves.
Right.
Because they're always saying, Christian, first impression is key.
Right.
These two individuals came to my door today for the clean energy were extremely professional, extremely apologetic that they actually interrupted the podcast recording. But I said, don't worry about it. It's no big deal. And it's just extremely well presented.
It doesn't matter if you're a small business or a large corporation like them. All the information I'm talking about is relevant to both. You need to be able to treat the customer well and be kind and polite towards the customer. And of course, tell them everything they should be hearing, not everything they want to hear, things like that.
They were very transparent too.
Right.
They were transparent with me 100%. They showed me exactly what I was going to be getting. They told me I opened up my energy bill because I get it electronically, and they showed me exactly where I needed to look. They told me exactly what other things, what was going on with other places. They were like, okay, so you're actually good, but here's, if you want, we can, this X, Y, and Z, make it, better, clean energy. I'm asthmatic, so with respect to the air quality here, it's just horrible. It's polluted. So to get that clean energy, and the way they presented themselves, as I said, is very professional. And I was very pleased. And I took the time to talk to them about, they talked to me about what they were offering through their subsidiary company, through the power company. And I'm like, there's a lot of stuff I didn't even know. And I've lived here 32 years.
That's the way to handle it, being transparent, go over everything that the customer needs to know, address their concerns. They were respectful of the fact that you were busy, but you were still able to talk to them. I'm glad they were apologetic about that. They were very friendly, and I think with that wonderful story you shared, that is where we are going to conclude today's episode. I've covered all our points already, and Dana, I thank you very much for sharing that. That was a great story. That example couldn't have come at a much better time. It couldn't have come at a better time.
I agree. There's a time and a place, and this was perfect.
Right. We've covered a lot of different points today. I hope that all of our small business owners out there will seriously take this advice to heart, because it's important, especially during the busiest shopping season of the year. You want to make sure that you take care of your customers in the absolute best way you can. Before we conclude, does anybody have any final remarks?
If somebody leaves you a positive review on for your company, definitely, take the time to go into the review and thank them for the review.
Right.
Shows that you care about your customers. And even if there was a negative review, go in and say, apologize for the inconvenience and talk, see what can be done. Reach out to them and say, hey, we're sorry, we had this experience. What can we do to turn this around?
That's right.
Doesn't matter what the review site is. Doesn't matter what the review site is. I've left reviews on Google of certain places, and there were one place in particular, a spa salon in the downtown, and I left a 5-star review on the massage therapist, and she actually responded, thank you so much. It was such a pleasure, and I'm so thankful, so happy you were pleased. I hope to see you again.
Right. Yeah, and this is especially important on Google reviews too, because those are the reviews that everybody sees. So when somebody leaves you a review on Google, whether it's a bad or a good one, reply to it and let the customer know that you're sorry that this happened, or give them a thank you for their kind words. That's the way to do it. Everybody sees those Google reviews. It's important to reply to them.
My HVAC company actually gave me a thank you and a credit on my bill one month because I had recruited 5 new customers in my gated community to them when they needed an affordable replacement to their HVAC units, which were 25 years old.
25 plus years old, easily.
And the old units had just completely failed, and they needed to go in from zero. And they went with the same company that I did. And they've now got 5 new contracts that over the next 8 years are going to be getting paid off. That's 5 new contracts with money coming into the company every month. They gave me a credit on my bill as a thank you.
It sounds like you become a brand ambassador for your HVAC company.
Well, they've always treated me with dignity, respect. When I call them, they always answer within 15, 20 minutes.
And if they need to come out, they're always on time, if not early.
always. And they even have the technician call when he's on the way to give me an arrival ETA for when he'll be there within the 2 hour window
Mm-hmm.
of the appointment.
And I love that because people give a 2 hour window, and it's like, well, you expect me to be home within this 2 hours. Well, what if I have something to do? Like it's a 10 to 12 window, but I have something to do at 10:30. So at that point, it's like the technician calls you at like 10, says, "Hey, I'm gonna be there in like 15 minutes." So this gives you the heads up. Okay, great. So he's gonna be here within 15 minutes, and he's there within 10.
Yeah, and they also require that if they need to come and do any work on the inside, that I have to be home to supervise the technician.
Exactly the same thing with my apartment. If I put in any service tickets, and they actually put a disclaimer in the email receipt that I get when I put in a service ticket, and I can actually put in if they need to come in or not. Because if they need to come in, I can allow them to come in when I'm not home, because maintenance has a key to all the units in the apartment complex. So if it pretty much says that if it's an emergency, this email serves as a waiver that they can enter your home and go ahead and fix that up and lock up.
Mm-hmm. And that also reminds me of one thing that I should have said during the show that I didn't mention. Implement a service ticket system in your website. That way you can have each customer issue organized by ticket number. If you have a lot of customers, it's easy to forget about certain ones if you're not keeping tabs on them.
Ticket number, Christian, but a reference number as well. If you can't implement a ticket service, at least give the customer a reference number. Well, as I said when I had that fraudulent activity on my bank account, the representative gave me a reference number. The fraud representative gave me a reference number to fall back on. If I had any questions, I could say, hey, I have a reference number, blah, 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 with respect to a call that I made on X, Y, and Z date. It's always very important for the consumer to remember, even if it's just a simple, I called on, this date, this time, spoke to this person, especially when they have a person, on the phone, and they're very, very pleasant to deal with. I had an issue with my phone issue at one point, and after every call, I always say, I'm sorry, what did you say your name was again? Because they identify themselves in the beginning of but that's really all they identify. That's the only time. But if they really, really make a difference, like, I'm sorry, you said your name was, and they repeat the name, like, and at that point, it's like, okay. So if they send a survey for your call, how your call was, you can at least pinpoint, okay, this person gave me this customer service. I do, and if you call again with respect to the service ticket or the reference number, sometimes there have been companies were like, oh, we don't have record of you calling, but when you give the reference number, it's like, oh yes, yep, we see it. My dad has had to deal with that as a doctor. He's had to deal with that with respect to insurance companies. He calls them and oh yeah, we don't have a record of you calling. Oh yeah, no, I spoke to so and so at this time. Here's the reference number. Oh yep, we have you, and I'm so sorry about that. So definitely implement a service ticket, a reference number to make it easier to file and thus pull up the information.
Because with customer, you can cross-index everything to that particular customer file.
And that particular issue that has been made known to the company with respect to the reference number in the first place.
So that if further issues with that particular customer on that particular issue pop up,
they can add to it they can just pull up the reference number. All the information is there. Any information that needs to be added on can be added on, and the reference number stays the same. And the representative that pulls up that reference number will be able to see all that has been done for that particular customer with that particular issue.
That's right. Yeah, very well said.
Customer service, and
Absolutely.
That's one of the things that helps keep the company in business.
Because quality customer service generates repeat customers. It's all about your customer service. They're your front line. They're the people you talk to first as consumers. With a positive customer service experience, your business will be, blooming. But if you have negative customer service, as we said before, they're the first people you meet. If you have negative customer service representatives and their attitudes are negative, that's going to put negative impact on your business. And that's going to make your business look bad.
Yeah, you summarized this whole episode perfectly with that last statement. I hope that all the business owners out there who are listening understand that customer service can make or break you. Don't ever cut corners on customer service. Make sure that you are doing the absolute best you can to please your customer every day. Your customers are your kings and queens. Treat them like royalty. That's my final statement on the matter.
Because ultimately the customer is the boss. And the customer can fire your entire company by spending their money at your competitor.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
If you're not transparent with your product, with your customer, that could make or break you as well. That could make your customers go elsewhere.
That's right.
Product.
Yep, that's right. The customer may not always be right, but the customer is always the boss.
I just want to end with just a message to the employers, towards the employees.
Mm-hmm.
Back them up when they have bad customers who are on their back, and that help them resolve the issue. Don't leave them to do it themselves.
Absolutely. And just remember, to the consumers listening to this as well, as an employee, we can only do so much. I've worked in retail, I've worked customer service, even to our managers, the business owners. Please back us up. We, as working in customer service for 9.5 years, 10, 11 years, I've worked retail. We can only do so much. We need the backing of our bosses, our employers, our managers. If we can't fix a situation with a customer, please come help us. Please back us up. As Sarah said, we cannot do it without you.
Customers are the lifeblood of any company, and the employees need the customers just as much as the owners of the company do. That's a very important point.
When the associates who deal with the customers, either on the phone, in person, it doesn't matter. We need the backing of our employers, of our supervisors, of our management team to help us out. If we get stressed and we can't deal with something, and and a customer demands to speak to the manager, we've done all we can on the front lines. Because as I said, I've worked in customer service on the retail store end, so not on the phone, but in person. And there have been times where customers have pretty much yelled at me just for speaking the truth. And I try to help a customer with something. I try to explain to him, this is the policy. He says, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, well, okay, have a great day. And it's frustrating. We need our management team to back us up.
Mm-hmm.
Give us a hand here. We're doing all we can.
Yeah, 100%.
The employees eventually are going to go out of business because the employees will quit, and then you won't have somebody to help you sell your goods.
And then the turnover increases,
which increases your labor cost, and that can put your company out of business because you won't have people that know your business lines inside out.
That's right.
You're unable to do better sales to maintain profitability in the company.
And when you have higher turnover, that can make your business look bad.
Mm-hmm.
Because
you lose your experienced staff.
Mm-hmm.
Because a high turnover rate is indicative and quite a conviction of the management style as toxic within that company.
It might not even be the employees that are making the turnovers. A lot of times the management, bad management causes the turnover to actually happen. And as such, you lose customers, you lose employees just because of bad management.
Yeah, that's right. We have an episode coming up where we're going to talk about bad management, what makes a toxic manager, and when it's time to walk away from a narcissistic manager. We're going to have a whole discussion on that in a future episode, most likely coming in the second half of January. I thank you guys for joining me on the show once again. You guys had a lot of great insight, a lot of great tips that both consumers, business owners, and employees could all benefit from. I certainly wish all the small business owners out there a very successful holiday season. May all of your Christmas sales, your after Christmas and after New Year's sales go perfectly well. And I hope y'all had a very successful Black Friday. Thank you guys for joining me on the show.
Thank you, Christian, for having us.
Christian. Thanks for having us.
Yes.
Thank you for having us.
My pleasure, everybody.